Hello guys, welcome to Thoughts of Gen Z and another episode with an amazing personality who has been inspired me a lot and who has a different aura of happiness around him. He always makes me happy whenever I talk to him, and I'm definitely sure that this episode will add value to your life. So let's introduce Clince Varghese sir, and let's get started to our questions. So how
Thank you very much, Jimil. Thanks for the kind words. I think the aura that you were talking about has got to do with my hair, I'm guessing. But keeping jokes aside, first and foremost, I really appreciate your patience. We've been discussing this for over a month. You have constantly followed up, uh, at times with no concrete response, but you still didn't give up. So I appreciate your determination, your passion to make this happen. And the fact that, and I think that's what really excites me about when I think about Gen Z. It's just that, you guys are filled with a lot of passion. You guys have that, action taker attitude. And I especially see that very bright and loud in you. So, and I think that's a great quality for any human being to have. So congratulations and appreciate your efforts and patience, bro.
thank you
And
so
thanks
much,
for the kind
everyone.
words that you described me with. I would really request you not to call me sir, because I feel that's just like a colonial hangover that we have, calling everybody sir, ma'am, and all. You can call me Clince. We'll do the American way of things.
American slang. So let's get started. And my first question to you is, how did your beautiful journey as a VJ, as a public speaker begin?
So, dude, I mean, I always say that my journey, that I always talk about my journey as what I call as the 3P story. I often quite, my friends call me a man of alliterations. So the first story is the story of what I call as the story of P, the penny. Growing up in an average South Indian middle class family, there was always more than reasons to have aspired for having a lot of money, for being able to have those material pleasures, be it Adidas shoes that I wanted, or a fancy trousers or jeans or a mobile phone, or of the likes, right? And some of the simplest thing I remember when I was really young, and I'd gone out for a Sunday mass. You go to the church, and coming back from there, एक फेरी लगता था हमेशा. तो वो एक cotton candy वाला था वहां पे, and I remember asking my dad, "Dad, I want a cotton candy," and he said, "नहीं नहीं नहीं यार, it's not good for your stomach." तो मैं डिसअपॉइंट हो गया यार. मैंने बोला ठीक है यार, चल कोई नहीं. उसके बाद मैं थोड़ा और आगे चलते गया. मैं बोला, डैड, लेट्स डू द, आई फाउंड दिस, वो होता है ना, बबल ब्लोस, व्हाट इज इट कॉल्ड, एयर बबल्स, whatever it's
Candy
called, right?
floss.
Soap bubbles. नहीं, candy floss नहीं, the soap bubbles.
Okay,
वो
okay,
जिसपे
yeah, yeah, yeah.
मारते हैं तो it becomes those soap bubble, right? So
Yes.
after the candy floss, there was a soap bubble guy, and I said, Dad, I really want to, can you please buy me a soap bubble? And he said, क्या है इसमें, क्या फायदा है, इसे फूकी तो मारना है, छोड़ना. We'll go home and we'll have some fun. And that's the day I still remember very strongly, right? This is very young, like I might have been in my early formative years, or I don't even know, 6, 8 years old. But I remember the specific incident, and I told myself that there'll be one day when I will have a lot of money, that I don't have to ask my dad about having to buy a candy floss or a soap bubble, right? So that's what I call my story of penny. So that was a growing urge in me as I was growing up, to be able to earn a lot of money. So I remember when we were in college, when we were just out of school, the 90s kids, right? The early 90s kids, the whole conversation about living a life of passion, follow your passion and make a job out of your passion, because 9 to 5 jobs or any other jobs, you're not going to be happy. If you're not going to be happy about what you do, what's the point? You're going to be depressed. You're going to be anxious all throughout. So follow your passion. And that's what I call this story of, in the 3 Ps. That's the second P. So penny, passion, and I was really passionate about being on stage, talking to people, and communication was a very active thing. As I've seen my mom and dad grow up. Growing up, I've seen my mom and dad interacting socially, be it with people in the church or in the building. So Independence Day hota tha, to dad and mom would be active in the building celebrations, or if it was a church activity, or if it was something else. They were highly social, and I think I've been blessed with those great genetics. So a lot of great conversational skills, leadership skills come from my parents. So I'd realized that, so I'd formed a band back in the day when I was in college, and performing, like, वो क्योंकि वो पैसे चाहिए थे, वो बचपन में कैंडी फ्लॉस और So bubbles के लिए होता था college में गए तो you wanted that better shoes, that better jeans and all those better things that you wanted. Dad wouldn't give me enough pocket money to do that. I still remember uh, to go to college, and if I had to eat, like in the whole budgeting, I would get 1,500 rupees a month, which is exactly 50 rupees a day. So more than 30-40 rupees to सिर्फ travel में जाता था, मतलब रिक्शा पकड़ो, ट्रेन पकड़ो, फिर अगला कैब पकड़ो, और कैब भी sharing में. You can't take a private cab because you don't have budget for the day, and then come back in the same way. So I would, अगर गलती से भी एक दिन मसाला डोसा खाने का मन कर दिया, so that means उस दिन no cab back to the station from the college. So I studied in St. Xavier's College. Xavier's से Marine Lines was just a 5-10 minute walk. But from where I live in Vasai station से मेरा घर almost 4 kilometer का है. So I would always walk back because आज मैं मसाला डोसा खाया तो you have to walk for 2 days. So those were the kind of days, and I told myself कि यार, पैसा जरूरी है. I was passionate about talking, so anchoring is something that I'd gotten into. You also call it as emceeing, so master of ceremonies or mic comparing or whatever you call it. So I remember mall activations करते थे, देवी और सज्जनों, भाई और बहनों, आ जाओ देखो क्या चल रहा है ये वो, and all this kind of stuff. And I remember those are fun days indeed, early days of hustle, keeping the struggle going on. So I could make a little bit of money. I still remember एक weekend काम करता था तो you would make 5,000 rupees, 2,500 a day. I remember the early days of emceeing. That was a lot of money because if you get 2 weekends a month, that's a lot of money back in 2010, around that circa, right? 2009, 2010, almost over a decade ago as I'm speaking to you. So that was the part of the passion. So I started anchoring, doing events for a lot of brands for their what they call as BTL events or mall activations and so on and so forth. I used to perform with my band. तो थोड़ा मोटा कोई club gigs करते थे, उससे पैसा आ जाता था. College tours करते थे. We would feel good, and that was the passion-driven journey. And as I kept getting bigger and better as a as the band performer, as a singer or as a anchor, I realized that what was amazing about following your passion was it made you feel great. You felt like a king when you're on stage. You felt like an emperor. मैं बोल रहा हूँ लोगों को, come on guys, put your hands up in the air. People are putting their hands up. Let me see you guys make some noise. People are making noise. Let me see you jumping. Let's follow the groove. People are literally, it's like you say something and that becomes a commandment for, from a group of 10 people to 100 to thousands to tens of thousands. I've hosted the IPL. I was a stadium MC for the IPL Pune team in 2016. That's 35,000 people at a go. I'm making them do a Mexican wave. Let's call it the Puneri wave eventually. That's what we ended up doing. So, I mean, it was amazing. And you know what? Over the period of time and as I grew older, or rather as I grew more wiser, I realized that it's not about what I feel when I'm on stage. I already feel like an emperor, and that's what drives me to come on stage. Even when a day I have a heartbreak, or if I'm physically not keeping well, or if I have some other problems, whatever emotional, mental problems, all of that kept aside. The moment I'm on stage, boom, maza aata hai. But then I said, think about, not what I am feeling. There is that same, there are hundreds, thousands, or sometimes whatever the number of people in front of the stage, right? Everybody is going through similar problems. Everybody has their own challenges, everyday challenges that they face. Somebody's having a challenge with their partner. Someone's having some financial trouble. Somebody has lost their year in year one, and off the likes. But when I'm on stage and I ask them to put their hands up in the air, and when I see them like jumping and dancing, it's no more about what I do. It's about all the skill sets that I have and what I am able to do with that. That was the game changer. And that's what I call my story of the third P. It's a story of purpose. So it started off with wanting to make money, story of P, penny, passion, and purpose. It becomes my golden triangle, bro. So the story for today, if you ask me what makes me do what I do, it's my story of purpose. It's my strong ability to recognize that what I say, what I do, what I share on social media has a larger than life impact than just sharing information about what I think or feel. It's way beyond that. So that's a sense of responsibility. I know this doesn't really answer the question of in terms of the whole MTV VJ bit. So among the transition from finding my passion and enjoying all of that, the hustler spirit was on. Why I told you this story was because this becomes the foundation or the base for the rest of the conversation that we're going to have now. So, पैसा तो कमाना था ही, पैसा
It
कमाएंगे,
gives a
ऐसा,
theme that
yeah, and only पैसा उसी से कमाना है जिससे मुझे मजा है, जो passion led चीजें थी, and following the passion, not making enough money, still not giving up, consistently, into it, knocking all the possible doors, going from door to door, trying to figure it out. I landed up an opportunity to do a travel show on MTV. It was called the Great Selfie Challenge. It was a travel adventure show. You would travel for 2 weeks. They gave you 1 lakh rupees to travel, and you had to take selfies. There was a 2 crew member, a videographer, and an editor who would travel with you to make a vlog out of it. And there was national level pan India voting and all of that had happened. And the winner would be titled the Selfie King of India or the Queen of India. So there were 2 girls, 3 guys. I happened to win the show, and I was called the Selfie King of India back in 2015.
yo, congratulations.
So cheers, man. So that kind of show, and selfie was just a new thing around that time. 2013, 2014 was the time when selfies became a big thing. Mobile phones came out with integrated selfie cameras and so on and so forth. So the selfie thing had become a very big scene, was just exploding at that point. Aaj ke time pe we see 100 megapixel cameras and all of that just as a selfie camera. This I'm talking is very early days, 2 megapixel and all of that kind of days. So it was insane. And then a year later, I got a call from MTV saying that there is a motorsports show called JK Tire MTV Track Start 2, Season 2. They would like to test me, check me out if I could do it. I went, did the test. Special shout out to Clince Varghese, who is a very good friend. I call him my bal bro. We both have curly hair. He was the one who shot the season 1 as a VJ. Season 2 वो कर नहीं पाया क्योंकि he had to shoot some other show at that same time. So because he was not available to shoot that show, I was called in as I wouldn't say a replacement. I was auditioned. I got selected. Eventually, I went on to do the season 2, the season 3. I ended up doing a bunch of projects with VH1 as well. Did some pan India tours and stuff like that. So that's how, answering, the why this larger conversation is, that's how I got into MTV as a VJ. So there was a huge background of the hustler mode. There was a huge background of how that hustler attitude helped me do a lot of live anchoring at malls. And, there is something called as cantor activities. Cantor मतलब वो बस पे रहता है ना, खुला बस रहता है और लोग, I don't know if how active is that out. Yeah, open bus में लोग चलते रहते हैं. So I've done those kind of activities as well. And I think that has helped me shape up the way I perform today. Because when you are one of those people and you have to address a lot of people, right? Mall में हजारों लोग आते हैं. You have to grab their attention. You have to keep them engaged. You have to keep them entertained. So the style that I developed primarily comes from the source of how I used to perform at these public gatherings. And I'm very thankful for how things have shaped up, to be honest. I never thought that, all that would help me become a TV presenter, to a better performer, better artist with time, and be able to travel around the world, do hundreds and thousands of live performances. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the story.
So from the smallest one to hosting India's #1 channel, you have been traveling a long journey.
True that. And you know what, bro? It's, for anyone, right? It'll always be this journey. And what you are today is not what you're going to be 5 years from now. 5 years from now, today, when you look at it, you would have your goal, what you want to do, where you want to be, and all of that. 5 years later, when you look back, you'd be like, oh my God, you know what? Here I've reached. There was that point when I was hustling and struggling to achieve where I am now. But you know what's going to happen 5 years later, wherever you're going to be, you will be thankful for what you've achieved, but you will still be looking forward to what you can be for the next 5 years. Because that's what it is, right? Like when you were in school, you want to be a guy. Yeah, with hunger. The hunger is always going to be there. And that hunger, what gives a direction to the hunger? What gives a jet? I always say purpose. It's like purpose is always the jet fuel for your aeroplane.
Yeah.
It'll help you skyrocket. It'll help you boost faster. So it's important you find your purpose. And what, people say, what is purpose? And I think Jay Shetty, I'd seen Jay Shetty's podcast, and he kind of very simplistically put it across. He said,
Yeah, continue.
Jimmy, are you there? Yeah. So I was saying that people quite often ask, what is purpose, right? I mean, how do you find your purpose? And it's one of the easiest references that I've heard from is from Jay Shetty, and he says, passion is everything you do for yourself. Purpose is everything that you can do to your best, but it's beyond just doing it for yourself. Now that's the purpose. Why are you doing something? It's not just because for yourself. Maybe it can be for your parents. It can be for your near and dear ones. It can be for people in your community, people of your area, people of your religion, people of your nation, people of, whatever it is. We can have various segmentations driven, but if it is for more than you, and it is about doing, bringing some difference with what you know, that's your story of purpose.
Yeah, so perfectly explained.
My story is my purpose is to add value in people's lives by engaging with them and using that as an opportunity to entertain them and inspire them.
Yeah, definitely. That seems to be. So my second question is, we live in a society where parents are more concerned about studies and children are forced to do what parents say. So what's your opinion on that? One message today.
So I'll tell you what, we need to understand there are certain elements. It's the whole story of which era you're born. Like until
Yeah,
1990s, India was a socialist country, So getting a government job was the idea of living a secured life. If there were two types of people ideally. There were people who were doctors, engineers, lawyers, I mean, super proficient with these professions. They were the cream rich people. And then there were people who had job stability with government jobs. Of course, there were entrepreneurs, businessmen, this, that, and all of that. But I'm talking about an average.
m- major proportion.
Yes, I'm talking about a general average class, middle class person, right? Which constitutes a larger part of the population also. So the idea was that if you're a doctor, my mom and dad used to always tell me when I was growing up, right? My mom would tell me, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter as long as you have respect in the society. My dad would tell me respect is amazing. You got to have respect. You also got to make sure that you earn a lot of money because you are the man of the house. You got to, take care of the house.
Yeah,
So basically, our parents want us to do whatever it takes where people respect us and you have enough bank balance to live a certain kind of lifestyle. Being a doctor, engineer, lawyer was a perspective of how our parents were taught. If you become a doctor, engineer, you're a queen. If you have a government job, you have a stable life. If you have a private job, in today's times, the transition happened from government job to having a job which is even private, a better lifestyle, better job place, this, that, security. I mean, still there is a larger chunk of the society which says government jobs are any day better than a private job for how the stability part of it or whatever. We are the generation that says that, what? We don't need to go to school or a college to earn respect or to make money. See, I'm going to come to the main core concepts of why study, why get a job, why get a degree or whatever.
yeah,
It's to get respect, it's to make money. That's the core thing. Let's not move away from the core part of it because the rest of it is only semantic differences. It's just what is more respectable, what is more money making, and all that sort of things. Today, a 15-year-old boy or a girl knows that he or she can monetize just his knowledge, skill set, or mindset with the power of technology. He can put up a dancing video, and that can help him monetize himself. He can put up pictures of his food that he or she eats, and that is a monetization
it can
opportunity.
be also monetized.
More followers, more people you have, impactful content you create, you gain respect. But this can't be translated to our parents' generation because they weren't born with these devices where that infrastructure existed, where having a blue tick verification meant so much. For them, it might still mean nothing. For them, having 100K followers, a million followers might not mean anything, right? But it does mean something to the current generation, right? And there will be a point in time, 50, 60 years later, there will be our kids and their kids. Their idea of what is good, bad, what is more respectable, what is more monetizable will be different than what it is going to be for us. So that will always exist.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think it's us to understand, identify that, And instead of battling it out with our parents, find a way to make them know that whatever values and ethics and belief systems that you have helped build us in, that is very intact. But the goal is to make money. The goal is to have, make respect and scale impact and make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
But the way we do it is slightly different. And that is what needs to be explained to our parents. Trust me, till date, I haven't been able to convince my parents. So it's a far-fetched dream for maybe an 18-year-old to even convince. But if he or she is able to convince it to their parents, then I think I could learn a lot from them. So that's my basic funda of, what do you have to say about parents' perspective on studies and degree and job and whatever it is. So I think it's just that bit.
Yeah. So you being a public speaker, being a VJ, for the one who don't know, Clince sir have given 1,000+ speeches in 25, 26 plus countries, and that's a enormous amount. So I have been watching or observing many of my friends. They have a stage fear, public fear. So how to remove that fear? Any tips for that?
So I'm gonna put it in very simple words, right? The do you go to the gym? You work out, right? Do you hit the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time you went to the gym, right? You must have seen a 10 kilogram or a 15 kilogram dumbbell, right? It looks cool to pick it up and do it. But for you to be able to do that, you got to build strength. You got to start at like 5 or 7.5 or whatever your thing, your parameters or metrics are. And yeah, and it's just about, you can only beat a fear if you participate. You can't run away from a fear, because that can be a temporary solution to anything, be it stage, talking on stage, talking in front of a bunch of people, or, whatever it is, giving an audio podcast or anything. You will only get better at anything if you constantly keep doing it. So my simple advice to getting better at anything, right? One step at a time. Don't give yourself like the mount, like if you want to climb Mount Everest. I just did a podcast with an Everester today, so just using that whole analogy.
Yeah.
If you want to climb on Mount Everest, right? You got to take those small steps. That's when you reach. You can't just jump from like the sea level to 8,000 meters above the sea level. You got to take those steps, and it's just that. So that's the basic framework for anything that we do in life, if you want to get better at it.
Yeah.
Second thing is, keep doing it every time. Keep consistently doing it. You got to be consistent. Third is, the next time when you're supposed to do it and you don't want to do it, and you're not in a mood, or you have 100 other reasons to not do it, remind yourself that this is what I need to fight the fear. This is a consequence or a byproduct of the fear that I have in my mind, that I'm just procrastinating and shutting it aside and, taking up something else. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'll do this for later. The more you keep pushing, your brain automatically perceives this as a threat. अरे यार, last time भी मैंने किया था, चलिए कल करता हूँ. Days will pass, weeks will pass, months and years will pass. You might not be able to do it. So if you want to really do it, deep dive into it. Progress over perfection. We don't want to be the best on day one. We want to first kickstart.
Make a little progress every goddamn day.
That's it.
So let's have a question for the one who are already into public speaking field or already into speaking field. What's your secret behind your 1,000+ speeches in different countries? Because to be very honest, this is the dream of every teenager, to give speeches, to roam in countries. So how did you achieve your dream?
So you know what I mean. There can be a lot of stories, and I can put all of that, but I want to put it in a very structured manner. And this is something that I learned from an online course that I've taken up by this online e-coaching institute called Harappa Education. And there the guy talks about what they call as the PAM framework. And the PAM framework is what you call as purpose, audience, message. When you're delivering a speech, or you are writing a content. These are the three things that you need to know. What is the purpose of the conversation you're having? Who is the audience that you're addressing the speech to? What is the message that you want to deliver? This is your basic framework. It's called the PAM framework. Get your purpose right, get your audience perfect, get your messaging right. So this is the basic thing. So the next time you have anything that you want to do, build it up this way. There are a lot more in-depth ways in terms of how you can make your a talk more interesting and so on and so forth. That for another day. But let's start with the basic framework. PAM framework. Get your purpose of the conversation. Who is the audience? Because how you're going to talk to your friend or to your mom and dad or to your girlfriend, boyfriend or to your teacher, depending on who you're speaking to, your style of conversation is going to change.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it's the same thing that you want them to know about, right? How you're going to explain the same thing to your parents or to your friends will be poles apart. The same thing that you might want to say, right? So hence, the purpose, the audience, and the messaging. These are the three things that you need to have clarity on.
I have been observing you since 1 year on internet and from past few months over telephone phone calls and all, and have been observing two key essential points that you are always happy as well as cheerful. So what's the secret, or what's something which keeps you happy and cheerful 24/7?
You know what? I truly believe that happiness shouldn't be like a thing that we don't have access to, or matlab, you know, it's an infinite thing, dude. It's not like a limited resource. पेट्रोल जैसा नहीं है कि इतना ही होगा हैप्पीनेस तो धीरे धीरे यूज करो या ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It's I'll tell you what, happiness is, in my opinion, right? Everybody has different definitions and this, that, and all of that. Real key of happiness is the ability to keep yourself in a joyful state of mind, in a peaceful state of mind when there are challenges, when there are challenging situations. When you're happy, you don't want to be happy. Like, you don't need happiness as a thing because it's already there, right? It's like, for example, when you're getting late for some place is when you need a little more extra time. When you're getting late for that examination or when you're getting late for a meeting, that's when you want that extra time, right? But when you had all through the year to get your studies or to do whatever, you didn't ask for extra time. Happiness का भी फंडा वही है. जब तुम खुश हो तो खुशी की जरूरत नहीं है. It's already there. You need it only when you feel down and out. That's when you need, like as we say that I need that extra motivation चाहिए या ये चाहिए वो चाहिए. Motivation मेरे हिसाब से है ना. There is a joke. Somebody told me that motivation is equivalent to garbage. Because एक वीडियो देख लूंगा मैं मोटिवेट हो जाऊंगा. वीडियो खत्म फिर क्या? Sustaining motivation, or what I would say as when motivation matures, it becomes discipline. It becomes a routine. When you have discipline and routine, right? When you have discipline and routine in life, you don't need motivation. Yeah. Because it's already automated. It's like sun doesn't need motivation to wake up in the morning and to set in the evening. It is automated. So if sun is feeling good or bad, it's still going to do it. I mean, it's just an example in that sense. And just in that sense, you got to keep yourself, happiness should be automated, man. I do have my down days. But as I said, happiness is not about having bad days. It's about converting your bad days into a good day.
Definitely.
That's the key. That is real key of happiness. That's what happiness enables.
Yeah. So, as this podcast is Thoughts of Gen Z and mainly concerned with Gen Z, so what would be a powerful tip you would like to give to the teenagers?
So I always tell, because I work, my team, my ENI Global, we are a Gen Z driven team. And there is one thing that I constantly tell my teammates: keep making as many mistakes as possible. Because mistakes are our stepping stones to success. Because when we make a mistake, right, We have not fallen down. We have learned one amazing lesson of what not to do. That's about it, right? And when we keep doing hundreds of them, right, we've learned, and not the same 100 ones, hopefully 100 different mistakes. We've just learned 100 new things that we didn't know till we did that mistake. So just go ahead, be an action taker. Don't worry about yaar kya main ye karunga ya karungi to sahi hoga nahi hoga. Don't worry about the consequences. Just go deep dive into it, make mistakes, do what you want to do, learn from them. That's the real deal.
So as you are talking about mistakes, what are the three mistakes which you did which you think you should have been avoiding?
Three mistakes that I did that I would suggest no one else to do. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So, bro, I mean, I never felt that whatever mistakes I've done is something that someone else shouldn't do. Everybody should make mistakes, man. As I'm for mistakes, I'm a pro mistake guy, pro failure guy. Go fail, go fall down, go break your bones, because the core of it is you got to learn from them. So, see, here's what it is, right? Some people learn life lessons by reading books or listening to audio podcasts or video podcasts or whatever, watching video podcasts. Some people will only learn, mummy ne bola tha garam tawe pe haath mat rakhna, but they will still go and put it. So some people, like I'm one of those kind of person, like a human being, where if somebody tells me to not to do something, I will amplify the speed at which I'm going to go and do it. Because you don't tell me, and that's the kind of a rebellious attitude that I had when I was growing up. I'm a completely, I've transitioned into a much more wiser, calmer human being with time. And I would say, what? Don't learn from my mistakes, because the mistakes I created, I made, and the learnings are for me to take. I'm going to tell you, go and make your mistakes, as many as them, but learn from them. You will only regret your mistake if you didn't learn from your mistakes. So don't regret, be a learner.
Yeah, of course. I have been following you on Instagram since around 1 year and have been seeing your account growth. So some tips on social media growth.
So dude, I'm a true believer in the idea that growth only happens. And the key driver for growth, right? Anything that you do is when you have empathy and compassion. I'll tell you why. Empathy is the ability to understand what someone else feels. Compassion is the ability to alleviate their pain, to take it away from them. What do big multinational companies like Uber or Airbnb or Amazon do? The biggest challenges, like their biggest business models, are things that people need, right? Like I want to be able to buy a product sitting in the comfort of my own home, no matter whatever time of the day or night, and I want to get it delivered without even moving out of the house, thanks to Amazon. I don't want to go out on the street and look out for a rickshaw guy when I'm running away for an examination or getting late for college or going for a interview or going to meet a date. I don't want to be late. I don't want to run on the street on a rainy day and try to stop a rickshaw or a car. Thanks to Uber, they understood that. I can sit at home, book the Uber. Once the car is in and around, I just have to go then. It's empathy and compassion. Just like that, as a content creator, what is it that your content does to people? Is it going to bring about some sort of smile on their face? Is it going to inspire them to take some action in life? Is it going to, what is that? Is it going to, with your content? The answer for that has to come. Empathy is the answer. When you understand what people want, right? What people feel, and you know that there is something within you that you can use to make a difference in their life. That's what it is. Why do you follow Abhi and me? Why do you follow a Ruhi Dostani? Why do you follow the guy who
Clince
made
Varghese.
Tommy? Huh?
Why do you follow Clince Varghese? I do follow because he adds value to life, because his stories add happiness to life.
I mean, I follow Rui Dosha. Yeah, I mean, so the question is, the answer to that question is very simple in my personal perspective. If you want to grow doing whatever, any sort of service you want to do, right? As an organization, as an individual, as a coach, as a consultant, as a trainer, as a whatever you are, you will owe you. I mean, if you have empathy and compassion, that's my personal perspective,
Nothing is
honestly.
impossible. So many of the teenagers might be watching this. So, what are the three important skills that everyone should have?
So I call this the P framework, PEE. First, you need to have a purpose-driven life. Everybody needs to find what is their purpose in life, no matter what age they are at. You know, a, a 18-year-old person who has purpose and a 50-year-old person who doesn't have purpose, right? In my personal opinion, the 18-year-old person is way much more advanced in the way that person is going to live. Yeah. So first is live a purpose-driven life. Second, have empathy in life. When you have a purpose, what's going to help you boost your purpose and achieve your goals in life is the real key is empathy, understanding what people need, understanding what people are going through, right? Third, are you there?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So purpose-driven life, empathy. The third is what I call as the entrepreneurial spirit. Because if you have a purpose in life, if you have empathy in life, third thing that you need is an entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurialism is not about profit and losses, quarterly reviews. That's all part of entrepreneurialism. The real essence of entrepreneurialism is the ability to solve people's problem. The biggest of the businesses in the world are businesses that solve some sort of problems in people's lives. It's
Yeah,
not the other way around,
definitely.
right? So if you want to grow big as a organization, as a creator, as a whatever it is, as a human being, purpose-driven life, empathy, and entrepreneurialism, a problem-solving attitude, basically. So that's what I call the P framework. Yeah.
Man, you explain so deeply and so perfectly. You could be a good teacher, man. So,
Thanks, man. Thanks for the guy.
as you said that from hosting shows at malls to the big shows you've been hosting. So, how did you deal with constant failures?
How did I?
How did you deal with failures?
Bro, I mean, my funda with failures have been constant. It's not something that I look at it today. My since growing up, and I think that comes from a strong value system that I was born and raised in my family. My parents were sports people; they were athletes. So for them, failure is always a stepping stone. Every time you fall down, you gotta, rise from that failure with the learnings that you've got from that failure. So that has been inbuilt within me. So I think the way I've dealt with failures is very simple. Of course, there are some things that are very heartbreaking because you want a certain consequence if you hadn't failed. And if you had to win that, maybe it would have been, I don't know, some competition, may game, goodies, pesa, or whatever you would have got. Uh, or maybe even a bet, or I don't know, whatever things that failed in life, right? So that's all temporary bit. You would have been happy only for that 1 day, 2 day, few days in and out. But the learnings that you get after that failure are hopefully lifetime. And for me, that's how I treat failures as.
So that's how a podcast is. But I would like to end this podcast with a boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka. It's a beautiful day, as I always say. Thank you very much, Jamil. What a fantastic, I still have to reiterate the fact that I love how passionate you are. I love the fact that you never gave up. In a way, it was also kind of testing your patience in terms of how much would you push for it? Would you still want to make it happen? And I think if this is the kind of determination and patience you have, I always say have passion in life and be patient in life also. Because sometimes when we're passionate about some things, we want faster results in whatever it is. And one thing that stops us from growing is our lack of patience. We always want faster results. If we don't get it, we feel dejected, we feel down and out. Then we are not further motivated to make things happen. So when passion and patience comes together, it's like a big blast of goodness, man.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me do a quick smiley. Yeah, let me do a nice selfie with you. 3, 2, 1. There you go, buddy. Thanks, chatting up. Yay. Got it?
No, just wait. Yeah. That's just because I'm being so much happy. Does that mean that I have been recording podcast with Clince sir? Yeah, it is my
Thank you very much.
dream.
Thanks, love. Thanks for the kind words, Jamil. You're a fantastic human being. Full power to you.
Just wait a minute, let me record it.